Hello. Since the demise of print media, how do we find out about what's going on in the world? Well, there's free-to-air TV commercials, I guess, but the way most of us are now finding out about local events and products are through digital media platforms. And to explain how and why they work, I've invited Lauren Stevens from her media company On My Mind to explain. So please explain. Where do we begin, Lauren? Welcome to start with.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So before we get to the nitty-gritty of all of this, how did you get into digital media? Is it the right terminology?
Yeah. I guess digital marketing is really what I specialise in. And so I started out at Adelaide University. I did a Bachelor of Commerce and I specialised in marketing and management. And at the time, the focus was on probably a lot more traditional media because print media, TV, magazines, all the exciting sort of branding, all these sorts of things that are a little bit more visually attractive. And then basically towards the end of the degree, there were a couple of subjects that I took where the notion of sort of digital marketing was thrown in the mix and things like search engine advertising. Which I had very little interest in. I didn't really want to pursue that. I was in marketing for the flair of it all, and I was kind of excited about that. But I was getting towards the end of my degree and there was a job opportunity to work for a business that specialised in search engine marketing, which is the process of bidding on keywords so that your ads appear in places like Google and Bing and things like that. And I didn't really have much interest in actually doing that, but I wanted to go for the job interview because I wanted experience in doing that. So I went along and they offered me the job and I kind of just freaked out a little bit and accepted. And then,
but this is what I wanted in life.
Yeah, I just sort of went, oh, okay, well, here we go. And then I didn't want to back out. So I went along and did the job and actually found I really enjoyed it. So my job was basically kind of creating and managing campaigns for various customers. And what I really enjoyed about it was that I was kind of helping connect the customers with their customers. So I was using the channels of Google and other things like that to basically put ads in front of people at the right point in time to create these moments of action so that I would help people find products they were looking for or services they were after.
Or they weren't, in fact.
Well, they were looking, they were researching.
I know, but then they keep telling you about it over and over again, even after you've bought it.
Yeah, that's bad. That's poorly done. That's
well, clearly,
you can actually,
yes.
you can actually. There are things you can do to stop ads from following people around, especially.
What, pick up the computer and throw it at the wall, perhaps? Do you think?
Yeah, you could try that, but I think more so, like if somebody has purchased something and then your business goes on sale, the worst thing you can possibly do is send that person an email or an ad that says, "Hey, we've just gone on sale for the product that you just bought."
Oh, definitely that. Yes.
So yes, you can be more sophisticated.
Yeah, but one of the things that I find really frustrating, because I literally get dozens of these every day, is the product I just bought online. They're trying to sell me the same product again.
Yeah, they're following you around, yeah.
And it's just constant.
Yeah.
Or your phone hears you talking about something, and surprise, suddenly there are ads.
I actually really like that, the ambient listening.
Of course you do, because you work in it.
I know, but I like it sometimes because I'm like, I've forgotten what price that product is or where I want to buy it, so I'll speak the words to my phone and I'll know I'll get an ad soon enough, which is actually kind of helpful.
Now see, now that's... For anybody that's not really that familiar with this whole process, and that well could be you, because it certainly at the beginning was me, and I kept thinking, how do they know how do they know? Really, that's what we're going to talk about. How do they know?
Yeah.
But when we think back, it's not that long ago. Like, I suppose the early 2000s, everything really started to change, and really, really quickly. So it was very difficult for an age group that hadn't learned any computer technology at school to not only catch up but to move forward with the way it was moving forward. And now with AI, it's moved forward yet another step.
Yes.
It's like, oh, how do we keep up with all this?
Yeah.
So just getting back to you though, so you did this job, then you had children.
Yes, so I worked with that business for almost 8 years, and so I started off managing campaigns, and then I was an account manager, and then I was a team leader, and then I sort of headed up their services team. And then I got pregnant, and I had my daughter Georgia, and took a year off, and then I kind of just couldn't go back to work. I just sort of changed as a human being, as you do.
That's because COVID hadn't started and made us work at home.
Yeah, not quite yet. So yeah, I just found that the agency life was a bit hectic for me. The things that I enjoyed, like travel and sometimes the stress of it all, I didn't really want that anymore in my life. So I took a bit of a step back, and my husband was very encouraging, and he sort of said, look, just try it out for a few months. You know, you're just going back to work, just give it a go for a little bit. And then I said, yeah, I'll do that. And then the next day I walked in and I just resigned. It just happened. So it was just a new chapter for me. And
because you had another baby to birth.
Yes, my business.
Exactly.
And then I had another baby as well. But
yeah, but could do all that at home or from home.
Yes, so that was really fortunate. So what happened was I pretty much just started consulting locally and working with various clients. I never had plans to kind of mould it into a business. It was just me being a consultant. And then the thing that happened was a beautiful thing. So my clients just kept recommending me to other people to the point where I sort of realised I couldn't actually take on all these clients. I needed help, and so I reached out to the Adelaide University, and I got a few sort of final year marketing students to come on board with me and do some casual work. And so I had a slight sort of increased team, and then I realised that wasn't enough, so I started to bring on more people, now we've got a team of 4, but we do some really great work with businesses across Adelaide, and some of the clients we have are interstate, and some of them are international companies as well. It's been great.
So what used to be advertising agencies as such has now sort of shifted, the focus has shifted. Some have moved into this area, some are still working across all media, I guess.
Yeah, what I've found is there's a lot of, I guess, some of the bigger advertising agencies that try to work across all of the different types of media generally find it hard to keep up, and they often turn to specialists like me to help with some of their digital campaigns.
Because it's new. It
changes
and it's
all
moving
the
so
time.
fast.
Yeah, it's rapid.
How do you keep up?
I even find it hard. So I've got, knowledge that spans, like a decade, and it sort of isn't enough when, AI comes in and just changes everything. Or a lot of the privacy concerns have been a big thing over the last few years. So people are more and more concerned about their own personal privacy when using devices. And so that has changed a lot of the things that, we do as well. It used to be very easy to track exactly what people were doing on their devices from an advertising perspective, and how they interact with your ads and what they do, what they click on. Then what happens when they go to your website, and then when they purchase, and so you learn a lot about the customer through this sort of journey and through this data that gets shared.
And I guess you've sort of got to think about a customer walking in the old way, walking through the front door and being attracted, let's say bicycles for something that just came to mind. So I'm interested in buying a bike. So I go into a bike shop and I start looking at this bike and that bike. Good salesperson's going to watch what I'm looking at and then come and explain to me, now this can do this and this can do that. And it's sort of a bit like that.
That's a really good way to describe it, yeah. Because your behaviour across your devices leaves a digital footprint in a way. And so if you're interested in bikes, you would be researching them. You might be watching some videos about them on YouTube. You might be reading some reviews. You might go to a blog to get some information. So all of those little bits and pieces create this picture of the fact that you are currently now in the market for a bike. And that information is information I can use. I can't personally identify that it's you who are you're looking for a bike, but I can say I want my ads to go to people who are in market for bicycles right now.
So how does this technology know? How does it all go together? Do you actually understand that part of it?
Well, to an extent. So if we're talking about advertising in Google, all of the wonderful products that Google provides to people for free, is for the purposes of exactly this. So you're like Gmail, YouTube, just all of their different display properties and things like that you can go on, and you kind of might not even realise it's part of the Google ecosystem. The trade-off of the fact that that is a free product for you as a user is that it's sharing your information back to Google for the purposes of advertising.
So people are a bit concerned at the moment because of the phishing that's going on. Does this acerbate that situation, do you think, or does it? Is it sort of going around the corner?
I think they're getting much better at it. So big companies like Google and Apple and Meta, Facebook and Instagram, all that sort of thing. They have made a lot of changes over the last probably 1.5, 2 years to improve data breaches and how they share information. So they can't do it.
Really, they have to.
They have to, absolutely.
Really have to. Governments are stepping in now.
Yeah. So. From my perspective, it's really frustrating and annoying because the data that I used to get a couple of years ago was a lot better than the data I can get today. And it's more anonymised and it's a little bit less accurate and all these sorts of things because they're trying to make it more secure and private for people. So I get it from a customer, like a user perspective, but from an advertiser perspective, it's lovely to have really rich data. And so that's something that, I'm always having to learn more and more about, doing online courses and trying to find out what's the next best way to track information in a privacy-centric world.
Yep, I get that. And just for you, we're going to go back to the old way of selling something. Here's a commercial break. Our guest is Lauren Stevens from her media company On My Mind, and we're talking about, I guess, something that's affecting everybody now. It's how delivery of information comes to us and where does it come from. So for you, sitting in front of a screen, I'm assuming, you're loading information to tell somebody who identifies, we're using a bike before, but I met you first because you were helping promote the Men Who Dance show for the Adelaide Fringe, and it was the Adelaide Fringe who recommended you. So I thought, this is the lady we need to talk to.
Yeah.
Now, that must be a hard sell too, to a performance, some performances. Because you've only got a short window that the performances are on, and you've really got to garner enough information. What do you need to do?
Well, I absolutely love promoting performing arts shows. I think and I've actually found it kind of comes fairly naturally to me. I had a background in performing when I was going through high school. I loved theatre and all these sorts of things, and then that sort of has drifted out of my life. But when I started working with a couple of different performers and then eventually the Adelaide Fringe, that's just opened up a whole another world to me of connecting my passion for digital marketing and my passion for performing arts. So it's been actually, for me, it kind of all makes sense. So, and The Men Who Dance is a absolutely fantastic show, a lot of talented artists in there. What I would do in a situation like that is you've got to really understand the target audience. Who do we want to get to see the show that we're promoting, whether it's an entire festival or an individual show, and it's about sort of understanding the demographic that would enjoy that show, their interests, and also trying to gather as much information from the business that I'm advertising as possible. So I can create campaigns. Usually I find performing arts advertising works really well on social media, so particularly Facebook and Instagram, because a lot of people are using their social media platforms in a way to connect with their friends and other things. So getting recommendations of things to do and see is a kind of a natural thing to happen on social media.
Do you think that's the main change? I mean, personal recommendation always works better than anything.
Yes, absolutely. And I think people almost feel like if they're receiving an ad for a show in their social media, it is in a way a bit of a personal recommendation, because it's kind of been...
Even if they don't realise it.
Yeah.
But if they don't know the people that have recommended it too,
Yeah, so and that's the other thing. Sometimes people don't realise an ad is an ad. So that's if it's done really well, you can kind of just naturally flow the ad into someone's sort of media. But there's a few ways we do it. One is to understand and target people based on their interests and things that they love.
So how do you know that?
Well, I don't personally know, say, your interests on social media, but based on your behaviour and the things that you like and the things that you watch and all of that, say Meta, which is the company that sort of owns like Facebook and Instagram, they know a lot about you. They know all that information. So when I build...
Can we just simplify this a bit more? They being people don't,
yes,
but the computers do.
Yes, exactly. Like so the
this is
system,
really AI, isn't it?
Yeah.
That snuck up on us from just this incredible revolution of technology.
Yeah, it's kind of
but those machines know.
Yeah.
It's not a person sitting there. Oh, I think that'd be good for you.
Exactly. It's not that one-on-one recommendation, but it's sort of I can target a collective group of people who have a passion for musical theatre or dance or just that they're really interested in a certain performer.
Right. So
like that.
This has all come through the things that you've looked at before. Is there a point that you put that information in? For example, if let's talk about the Adelaide Fringe, because it's the second biggest fringe in the world.
Yeah.
It sold 1 million tickets last year. It's highly successful. But I don't necessarily know what I want to see because a lot of the show I've never ever heard of. But you can fill in information on the Fringe that will feed you similar shows to what you've suggested. Is that how that works?
Yeah, so
I'm making that up, by the way.
No, you're definitely on the right track there. So that is a very common problem. The Fringe is so big and the guide is huge. So it's hard to, some people love the physical book and looking through and circling things. For me, I need to filter. So I need a way of filtering down the information for things that I might like. And a lot of people are the same because it's hard to consume that amount of shows in one festival. So
1,500 shows.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. And so what we're able to do is to take the shows and segment them kind of by their category, almost like when you think about it in the printed book, there's a category for theatre and then there's a subcategory for physical theatre and so
there's dance and there's circus and there's cabaret and there's ballet and
exactly. So all those different categories. So we can take the shows that sit within one of those categories and target them to people who have been to see like cabaret shows in the past, or something like that. So we can kind of connect the fact that we know you've bought tickets to a show in this genre, therefore you might like tickets to this shows in this genre again. And so, so that way we're trying to naturally recommend shows to people who might like and enjoy seeing them.
Well, obviously you can't say a brand name, but what would you feel the most difficult thing to sell?
Difficult thing to sell. I would say it would be, just in general, something that isn't in demand in a way. So for me personally, I can run an ad campaign for something that is being looked for and researched for and hunted after or
because
thought about.
Because the infrastructure is there.
Exactly. So I can kind of, I can tap into the motivation of a customer and target ads to them. If it's a brand new product or service or something that nobody's ever heard of, there's nothing built up about it, that is not my wheelhouse. That is a big, maybe a marketing branding agency or someone who can kind of build awareness of that product or service.
Well, you've made a good point. It's a brand thing. When we think of the brands that we've known for a long period of time, we sort of know what we're going to get because we've probably already had them. So in a way, this is how this is working too, isn't it? Because I've searched for something, it knows I've searched for that. Oh, there's a can of baked beans. I like those baked beans. Here's some other baked beans you might want to try. Is that sort of how it works?
Yeah, so there's an element of like recommendation, happening, I think.
Just because you've liked something.
You've indicated interest in something.
And that's a bit confusing, I think, for people too. The sharing and liking on things like Facebook. Because I've seen something, I've looked at it, what do I need to do? If it is something that I want to share with friends, do I click the share button? Who does that share with?
I think you've got options there. So when you go to share, you can choose to just share it to your profile, or you can share it to a specific person or a message or a group. And in those cases, if you've interacted with that, and if that happens to be a post from a business, or what that basically can do for an advertiser like me is it sort of puts you in a bucket of someone who is interested in that particular post or interest. So then I can say, all right, you've interacted with that post, therefore you are interested in this, therefore I can show you an ad about other things to do with this. So it really helps me to be able to identify.
Do you think the whole world has just become a big ad of joined together just
a big giant ad, soup of ads?
Yes, a soup of ads. I like that.
It's a little bit like that.
Can you
sometimes.
market that, a soup of ads?
I can definitely put enough ads out there to make a soup.
A soup of ads.
Look, I think there is a lot of advertising, but what I hope is still the case and for the future of advertising is that it is relevant advertising, because you can put a very irrelevant ad in front of someone and annoy them, or you can show them something that they actually would like and want to buy.
Or they'll just swipe sideways very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And
I guess that's the other problem too. How do you get interest in a product that is going to be swiped sideways so quickly?
Yes, that is a big problem.
How long have you got?
You've got a few seconds, honestly, and so that comes down to how people are creating the messages businesses are creating and the videos that they're putting out there. You could have, put a 40-second video out there, and most people would have watched it to the end, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. But now you've got a few seconds to capture attention, and that is very, very difficult to do.
What things capture attention the fastest, do you think?
Well, I would say it's got to be it's important from an ad perspective. You want to have what you're selling there like straight away, or something that is so exciting that people will watch on, because you don't have a lot of time and people will swipe on. So you want to have the product or the service or the point you're trying to make pretty quickly in that ad, and you want to have
the first 3 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And you may have 4 seconds if you're lucky, but you want to have the business logo present as well, because even if they've swiped on, maybe then they've still seen the logo, and maybe that will start to sink in as well.
So how many times do you think you need to see something like that before
it makes a
really
difference?
Locks into your head?
That's a good question. I think if you're constantly swiping through, you're probably just mostly consciously ignoring it.
Are you conscious at all?
I know that's the issue that we have. Attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, and and with platforms like TikTok, people just love consuming information in super rapid ways. So I think that will get more and more challenging, especially for people who are creatives in developing videos and ads and things like that.
Also with a fast mind, the younger you are, the faster your mind works, and bang.
I've got to say, Facebook is an older marketplace now than it used to be,
and
so that's where I often have clients who say, look, our target market is probably 60 plus. Facebook's probably not where they are, and I'm like, they're definitely there, absolutely. And COVID changed a lot of things for people as well. People who weren't on devices or didn't have computers, and especially in the sort of older demographic, they're all now connected.
Suddenly we needed something else. We need to take another break to do something old-fashioned. Our special guest is Lauren Stevens. We've been talking about her media company On My Mind. We're talking about, I've just got one quick question to ask you, and that is, do you think people should be a bit slower on the swiping? Because people like you are spending forever to set all of these things up, and you just throw it away without even thinking.
Yeah, I guess, doom scrolling is a thing.
What do you call it?
Doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling,
Have you ever gotten to that, where you're scrolling and you're just like, wait, what am I doing?
Well, that's true. If you watch people, they're just doing this.
Yeah.
You think, what's going on in their head?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, honestly, they probably should put down the phones and look up and get out.
Get into the real world.
Yeah, but
lots of things there to see too.
Because I think that good advertising will connect with you at the right point in time, and I don't think but I do think people should maybe take their time a bit more with their media, but also spend a bit of time in the real world.
Yeah, to be nice to the industry, really. if we didn't have it, we wouldn't know what was available to us at the end of the day.
Yes.
So there is real purpose in reading some of this. I just wish they wouldn't keep telling me the same things. I don't want to buy any more socks and shoes.
They're doing it badly, because you can do a thing called, you can actually sort of negative people out of your list. When somebody has purchased, you negative them out of the list. So that's poor marketing. If you see that's constantly following you around, you've already bought the thing, you should call them up and say...
I can't tell you the number of times I bought some seat covers, and I am still getting more ads for that colour seat covers for the chairs that I bought them for. I bought them, guys.
That's lazy. They're lazy.
They're lazy.
They're lazy, and they can do better.
Okay. So when you're frustrated, just say you're lazy, you can do better, and dump them.
Yes.
Lauren, thank you so much. I just hope for everyone's sake you've understood actually the relevance of knowing what's coming through, those feeds that are coming through and how they're finding you. But at the same time, I like hearing they're lazy.
They're lazy when they don't do a good job, because you should find the ads relevant that you're looking
at. Find something else to sell you instead of the thing you just bought.
Exactly.
Thank you, Lauren. Good luck with, and I guess you're setting up now for a lot of fringe stuff, so good luck with that.
Yeah, very busy season ahead.
It certainly is. So is Christmas. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time on Our Time, keep yourself nice till then. Bye.